What we're going to do is we're going to review all the verbs that we know so far. Verbs are really the backbone of any language. Those are the things you want to focus on as you're beginning in a new language. And you're already starting to figure out some of the patterns in the verbs in Spanish. So let's kind of review. I'm going to give you the verb in Spanish and you tell me what it is and who's speaking. And remember, listen to the ending so you know who it is. If it's he, she, they, I, or the ones we've had so far. So come. Come in Spanish means he or she eats. Comen, they eat. Como, I eat. And then comer, and that's the full form of the verb, to eat, and that's what you're going to find in the dictionary when you look up eat. Comprende, he or she understands. Comprenden, they understand. Comprendo, I understand. And then, of course, the full form, comprender. So there you have ER verbs that end in ER. Comer and comprender are two examples of ER verbs. In Spanish, there's three types of verbs. You have ER verbs, AR verbs, and IR verbs. And we've already done ER and AR. So, for example, the comer, comprender fall into the ER category. And then the AR, we have hablar, which means to speak. So how do you say he or she speaks? Habla. They speak. Hablan. I speak. Hablo. Another AR verb that we have had is we've done I need, necesito. So he or she needs. For the AR verbs, you're going to end on the A, necesita. And they need, necesitan. And then to need, the full form, the infinitive is necesitar. And the last one is the IR verbs, and we've only had one. Do you remember how to say he or she lives? Vive. And remember, the V and the B are very subtle in Spanish. Vive. They live. Viven. I live. Vivo. And then the full form as the IR verb is vivir with an IR at the end. And if you notice, the ER and the IR verbs are similar in that they end in the E. And the AR verbs are going to end in an A. Another IR verb, very common, is to write. To write in Spanish is escribir. You can think of a scribe, going back from Latin. Scribes are those who write, or script is something that's written. So how would you say he or she writes? Escribe. They write. Escriben with an EN. I write. Escribo. And to write, escribir. So the IR is the full form, the ER or the AR. And we use these full forms of the verbs when it is the second consecutive verb in a sentence. So for example, how would you say I want to write in Spanish? Sí, quiero escribir en español. I need to write in Spanish. Necesito escribir en español. So the second verb is in the full form. I want to understand more. Quiero, to understand. Comprender más. I want to speak more. Quiero hablar más. So quiero, ending in the O, is I want. If you want to say she or he wants, you end in an E. Quiere. He wants to speak more. Quiere hablar más. Quiere comprender más. So quiere, she or he wants. How would you say they want? That's right, put an N on the end. Quieren, quieren. So how would you say they want to speak more? Quieren hablar más. Muy bien. Another expression that you'll hear frequently in Spanish is I have to, which is tengo que. That que at the end, I have to or I must. Tengo que, and then it follows with a full form verb. So for example, tengo que hablar más. I have to speak more. Tengo que hablar más. How would you say I have to eat something? Tengo que comer algo. Good. And if you just say I have something, as in possession, you just say tengo algo. Muy bien. Tengo is I have. She or he has in Spanish is tiene. Tiene. A little bit different. T-I-E-N-E. Doesn't follow the exact same pattern. Tiene. So how would you say she has something for me? She has. Tiene. Could be ella tiene, but if it's clear, it would just be tiene something, algo for me, para mí. Tiene algo para mí. How would you say they have something for me? They have. Tienen, with an N at the end. Tienen. They have something for me. Sí, tienen algo para mí. Remember back to she or he thinks that. Piensa que is she or he thinks that. So how would you say they think that? Piensan que, with an N at the end. Piensan que. So how would you say they think that that is normal? They think that. Piensan que, that. Remember that for that. Eso. So piensan que eso es normal. So how would you say, but that is not normal for me? But that is not. Pero eso no es normal for me. Normal para mí. Muy bien. Let's go back to a few phrases. If you want to say there is a man, you say I, un hombre, I, H-A-Y. I'll give you an expression in Spanish. You give it to me in English. No me gusta. No me gusta. I don't like it. No le gusta. No le gusta. She or he doesn't like it. Lo siento. I'm sorry. Es de México. Es de México. That one could be he is, she is, or it is from Mexico. Son de California. Son. I got the N on the end, so they are from California. And then if you want to say I am, in Spanish, it's soy. Soy. S-O-Y. Soy. So if you want to say I'm from Texas, soy de is from, soy de Texas. And do you remember de donde es Jennifer Lopez? De donde es Jennifer Lopez? And you can just answer. De Nueva York. De donde es Peter? From the story from before. De donde es Peter? Sí, es de Nueva York también. De donde es usted? So what am I asking there? De donde es usted? Sí, where are you from? And you would say soy de, and then where are you from? I would say soy de Texas. Muy bien. To say I'm not, you say no soy. So if you want to say I'm not from New York, I'm from Texas, you say no soy de Nueva York, soy de Texas. If you want to say Peter is from New York, Peter es de Nueva York. Or you can say Peter viene de Nueva York. Viene de, V-I-E-N-E-D-E, comes from is another way to say it. So you can either say Peter es de Nueva York or Peter viene de Nueva York. So go back to the expression I am, soy. If you want to say I am a student, soy estudiante. In Spanish, when you're talking about your profession or your identity, you don't necessarily have to put the un estudiante or una estudiante. You just say soy estudiante. So for example, if you say I am a woman, you just say soy mujer. Or I'm not a woman, no soy mujer. I'm a man. Soy hombre. Muy bien. Instructor in Spanish is maestra, M-A-E-S-T-R-A, maestra. So if you want to say, I am your instructor, your Spanish instructor, I would say, soy su maestra de español. Su means your, in this case. You can remember the expression, mi casa es su casa. Su can be his, her, or your, depending on the context. So, soy su maestra de español. And in Spanish, you don't have like Spanish instructor. You say instructor of Spanish. Soy su maestra de español. You flip it around. I can say su maestra de español viene de Dallas. So what would that be? Su maestra de español viene de Dallas. Your Spanish instructor comes from Dallas. Or I can say, la familia de la maestra de español viene de San Antonio. So, la familia de la maestra de español, so the Spanish instructor's family, viene de San Antonio, comes from San Antonio. So again, it says the instructor's family. In Spanish, you don't have that possessive like apostrophe S. You have to flip it around. The family of the instructor of Spanish. La familia de la maestra de español viene de San Antonio. Or you can simply say, su familia viene de San Antonio. Her family comes from San Antonio. If you want to say my family, it's mi familia. So I would say, mi familia viene de San Antonio. I can ask you, ¿de dónde viene su familia? So from where does your family come? Where do they come from? And you would say, mi familia viene de, wherever they're from. Or you can say, ¿de dónde es su familia? ¿De dónde es su familia? Where are they from? Or from where are they? Doesn't sound right in English, but you can either say, ¿de dónde viene su familia? Or ¿de dónde es su familia? All right, let's go back to a couple more verbs. In Spanish, you remember the expression toma. Toma solo agua. Talking about Jennifer Lopez and Taco Bell. She only takes water. Takes or drinks. Toma is he or she takes or drinks. So I would just say they take or they drink. Toman. And I take, I drink. Tomo. And then the full form, to drink or to take, would be tomar. Muy bien, with an R at the end. All right, let's go back and I'll just say the words in Spanish and you give me the English translation. Here we go, working with the verbs. Come, comen, they eat. Como, I eat. Comer, there's your full form, to eat. Comprende, he or she understands. Comprenden, they understand. Comprendo, I understand. Comprender, to understand. Habla, he or she speaks. Hablan, they speak. Hablo, I speak. Hablar, to speak. Also be to talk. Necesito, there's the O at the end. I need. Necesita, she or he needs. Necesitan, they need. Necesitar, to need. And then a couple IR verbs. Vive.